Tomorrow is September 11th. We remember September 11th. On that day, Islamist terrorists committed the worst savagery on American soil since the founding of the United States. We also have a September 11th. We remember October 7th. On that day, Islamist terrorists committed the worst savagery against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. What did America do in the wake of September 11th? It promised to hunt down the terrorists who committed this heinous crime wherever they may be. And it also passed a resolution in the Security Council of the UN 2 weeks later that said governments cannot give harbor to terrorists. Well, yesterday, we acted along those lines. We went after the terrorist masterminds who committed the October 7th massacre. And we did so in Qatar, which gives safe haven. It harbors terrorists. It finances Hamas. It gives its terrorist chieftains sumptuous villas. It gives them everything. So we did exactly what America did when it went after the terrorists, the Al-Qaeda terrorists in Afghanistan, and after they went and killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Now the various countries of the world condemn Israel. They should be ashamed of themselves. What did they do after America took out Osama bin Laden? Did they say, oh, what a terrible thing was done to Afghanistan or to Pakistan? No, they applauded. They should applaud Israel for standing and up to these same principles and carrying them out. And I say to Qatar and all nations who harbor terrorists, you either expel them or you bring them to justice. Because if you don't, we will.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding and its extremist ideology in terms of funding. I want to call on all of the nations to stop immediately supporting terrorism. Stop teaching people to kill other people. Stop filling their minds with hate and intolerance. I won't name other countries, but we are not done solving the problem, but we will solve that problem. Have no choice. This is my great priority because it is my first duty as president to keep our people safe. Defeating ISIS and other terror organizations is something I have emphasized all during my campaign and right up until the present. To do that, stop funding, stop teaching hate, and stop the killing. For Qatar, we want you back among the unity of responsible nations. We ask Qatar and other nations in the region to do more.
Thank you for having me. I think Donald Trump is the angel that has been sent to emancipate the emancipation of Biafra. We must understand that in the cabinet of Donald Trump, we have a very critical person, Susan Willie. Susan Willie, who is the current chief of staff of Donald Trump, was captured some few weeks ago, having conversations with some critical states that need to be delivered from the shackles of Boko Haram, which by extension is the Fulani Caliphate. We can see that most of the NGOs that we have in Nigeria today are domiciled in the north. Most of the NGOs which are financed, when we look at it historically, we saw that these were the machinations of Barack Obama. Barack Obama, who had a deal, unfortunately, he had a deal with Buhari that they have to do everything to bring Nigeria down. Because when Jonathan was in power, Okay, when Jonathan was in power, Nigeria was speculated to be the biggest nation in Africa and even ahead of some European countries. So you will understand that when Barak came in, they financed Fulani because they know that the Fulanis are always anti-progressiveness. The only thing they want, the only thing they like is Sharia. The only thing they want is to suppress people and take away people's what? Progress. And they gave that to who? To Buhari. Then the NGOs started coming in. If you look at it before 2014, we didn't have NGOs in this country. US aid was not coming into this country. Obama even wanted to pass a bill that man will be marrying each other. So when Trump came on board, the first step Trump took was he called Buhari. He said, Buhari, why are you killing my people in the southeast? He asked him that question. He asked him that, Buhari, are you sure you are not a dummy? What is going on? Buhari was just laughing. He asked him again. He said, why are you killing Christians? If you take a look at the Nigerian man, the region that is predominantly Christians are the Biafrans. And if you look at it, within that period of 2017-2018, that was when Nnamdi Kanu residence was invaded. That was when his father was killed because of that what? Abuse of human rights. Donald Trump has not forgotten. Nnamdi Kanu, this is why it's good to be good. When Donald Trump was about to win his election in 2020, Nnamdi Kanu was one of the very important contributors. Nnamdi Kanu, a very charismatic and a very vocal person, he was in that convention and he ensured that he paid his dues. And that was when he had that relationship with Susu Willis. You will see that the first step when Donald Trump came on board, he said that US aid that is financing the Fulanis will stop. You will see that they have not been crying. They have been concocting, coming up with all manner of cock and bull stories, saying that so it is the Christians. It has never been the Christians financing this. Orabweze will have a day because, of course, she is on the path of truth. And this is the same cause Simon Ekpa came out to extend. Because ever since Nnamdi Kanu has been incarcerated, Simon Ekpa came to push that agenda. They started having lobbies in the United States of America. Don't forget, they told you that Simon Ekpa will be extradited. Since when? Since when? They have told you he will be extradited since January. Have you seen anything? But instead, it is Nigerian army that has been disgraced. Canada saw what they are doing to the Biafrans. You can see that there is one-time abuse of human rights in the southeast. And don't forget, we have what we call an BRGIE annex in Canada. And they reported this case to the Canadian government. The Nigerian government or the Nigerian army was invited that they should bring 70 people were packing themselves to Canada. The man said, what is going on here? They asked them again. They said, we only invited 10 of the Nigerian army. You are bringing 70. Are you people trying to run away? Or are you trying to bring your issues, your terrorism into our state? And they were denied. They were told to go to hell. At this stage, it is imminent that there has always been a voice of truth. And no matter how evil tries to spread his rumors, it only takes one day, because it is apparent now that the Nigerian army, the Nigerian government, all along have been complicit in the killings, in the ridicule and humiliations of the southeastern states, of the Biafrans. Chidi Odinkalu came out and questioned Ribadu. There are no Ribadu. Why are you still holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Tinubu has been questioned. Why are you still holding Nnamdi Kanu? There's no reply for that. He has also asked Ribadu, why did the Nigerian army take 70 instead of 10? Ribadu has switched off his phone. He cannot, there's no response. All of them, they have no response. There's only one thing here. It shows that Nigeria as a state does not have respect for rule of law. They do not have respect for what? For what we call human rights. Only the Fulani seems to have their way. Orabueze is having a very big win. Alex Top must be very careful because we know he is about to go into what we call a very dirty deal, wherein he wants to have an exchange of the Biafran gas for the extradition of who? Of Simon Ekpa. But it's going to fail because Donald Trump, just as Donald Trump has intervened in Ukraine incident, you know what Donald Trump has done? You know what Donald Trump did to the Hamas? He called the Hamas and said, I give you 24 hours.
Saturday to do the needful.
And by Friday night, as if they were doing vigil, all of them, we don't want wahala. Carry your picking them. It is just a matter of time. It is ticking.
Oh.
The caliphate of the Fulani, he is clipping it one after the other. The money that is funding those terrorists has been cut short now. Very soon, they will start running out from the bushes into the city. We'll start picking them one by one. And then from there, look at what is going on in Sokoto. Why has the Sultan never been attacked for one day? That's my question. My brother, they will tell you that they are fighting in Ikeja. Every time, Ikeja. But the Sultan's house is at Guinness. No, but nothing happened to him.
Or you could said.
Nothing happened to him. It tells you one thing. They know that if these people go, within 2 weeks, I guarantee you, the North will start stabbing. Because they know that the resources that they are able to exploit from that southern part of the country is what that is sustaining them. And they must do everything. Those that were supporting them, which were the Democrats. And you know, during that election, I was looking at some of my Igbo brothers who were supporting Democrats, who were hoping for Kamala Harris to come in. We were just looking at them like, it seems you don't even understand what liberation means. You don't. Donald Trump's first speech, the very first day he made a speech when he won, he said anywhere in the world where people are suppressed, he will intervene. That was the first blow. First blow. With Pakistan, you know, there was this Palestine, this thing. He started deporting them. He said, if you do not like USA, go back to your country. The next thing, Hamas got their own share of it. Next thing, I am sure, is going to be the Biafrans. And of course, by the end of the day, we are going to have Orabueze, Simon Ekpa, and Nnamdi Kanu.